And that is the indication that you've healed some generational trauma, because we're not born necessarily knowing who we are. We in our families design who we need to be to survive the family system. And I call that your survival self. We wake up one day and we know we're surviving. We don't wake up one day and know who we are. So for me, I married a guy with the last name Silence because I was still committed to silence and understanding trauma wasn't enough. Then I kept the name because I reinvented myself. And my clients say yes to reinventing themselves without knowing what that means. I didn't know who I was, but I knew who I wasn't. And then it was a identity up level, reinventing myself journey to be who I am, fully expressed, no matter what. And so when we're talking about family healing, that's what I'm talking about. You, no matter what, in your family and beyond, that's magic.
Well, hello, and welcome back to the Amanda Kaufman Show. We are continuing our series on the coaches that don't suck, and Rebeccah Silence for sure qualifies. I'm so excited that she accepted my invitation to be here. And hello, Rebeccah, how are you?
Hey, Amanda. Hey, all of you beautiful coaches out there that want to be coaches who don't suck. I'm honored to be here.
It's amazing. Okay, so I've got your bio here, but I'm just gonna say on a personal note, Rebeccah is one of those people who, if you meet her and you connect, it's like she's like this magnet. Like we keep connecting and finding each other in different environments and different seminars and circles. And every time she sees you, it is like the just this big light up, like it's been years and years, even if it was just a month ago. And I love that about you, Rebeccah. You're just one of those people that has so much heart and so much to share.
Thank you, Amanda. I love people, and you're someone I love a lot, genuinely.
I appreciate that. Well, and for you, dear listener, Rebeccah Silence is redefining family happiness worldwide. As an award-winning author, coach, and media personality, her mission is to help every child grow up with healed, joyful parents, and every couple experience transformative love. With expertise in healing generational trauma, Rebeccah makes harmonious, love-filled homes a reality. Her 16 years of success stories and personal journey of resilience prove lasting happiness is within reach. And you can learn more at her website, RebeccahSilence.com. But she's right here, so I'm just going to ask all kinds of awesome questions. All right, so Rebeccah, I'm just really curious, like, what has drawn you to this mission? Like, this is a big mission, to affect families in such a deep way. Do you mind just telling us a little bit of like your why? Like what has drawn you to this?
Yeah. Well, I grew up in a domestic violence environment and a home riddled with addiction, affairs, dysfunction, and it was an environment where anything goes. And no one had the need to do better, and everybody was doing the best they could with the tools they had. And from a really young age, I just identify, as maybe some of you in this gorgeous audience do, as the generational trauma healer in my family. And I think I knew
Mm.
at like age 4 that was my assignment, but that doesn't mean responsibility. That doesn't mean fixing anyone or healing anyone. I just knew family is my favorite thing, and there has to be a way that it can be better than this. So, fast forward, I've been around in the industry as a ground level pioneer. I've been helping people heal since 2002. My background's really unique. I'm a music therapist. I have a master's degree in counseling, and I knew I wanted to work with people and become a behavior expert as soon as I graduated with my undergrad. But then I have a master's degree in counseling, 4.0 GPA, and I find myself in my own domestic violence marriage. And so for me, that was the beginning of wait a minute, mental health is so important. family health is so important. And it just became so clear to me it's not enough to understand trauma if you want to actually break the cycle. So for me, I didn't have the self-worth yet to get out of this domestic violence situation for me, because this was just what happened when it came to love and relationship and family. But I had a kid, and that wasn't good enough for her, which gave me the strength and the courage to get out. And from there, I was going to be damned if I didn't figure out how to actually help families heal. And so that's been my journey. I have multiple coaching certifications. I'm a continuous student every day. I'm a coach with a coach. I love that you stand for that as well, Amanda, with all of the leadership you're doing with coaches. You know, we spend more on my healing and transformation and growth in my family than we do on anything else, 6 figures a year for 10 years straight, you know? And so my point is, I'm not suggesting I have the way, but I have figured out the way to help you figure out what's right and healed for you compared to what you know that keeps you in survival and limits you from being able to make your most healed impact. So declaring that I was going to help families heal was something that only happened when I published my book, Coming Back to Life, A Roadmap to Heal from Pain to Create the Life You Want. And I also, at the same time, I birthed this book and got a major publishing deal, was producing my course that I call the Emotional Survival Kit. And it was a wild time because I had so much knowledge and expertise and I wanted to bottle it, but again, not in a way where I'm saying I know what you need, but I'm going to give you everything you need to find your path to the best of you. Because that's what heals families, is one person in the family deciding to be the best of themselves, emotionally regulated, fully expressed and free, no matter what's happening. One person does that, the family heals. And it doesn't mean, I'll just say one more quick thought here. I'm not a relationship expert because all my relationships have been easy. Everybody's great. Everybody treats me the best. I'm a relationship expert because I know how to be me no matter what. And that is the indication that you've healed some generational trauma, because we're not born necessarily knowing who we are. We in our families design who we need to be to survive the family system. And I call that your survival self. We wake up one day and we know we're surviving. We don't wake up one day and know who we are. So for me, I married a guy with the last name Silence because I was still committed to silence and understanding trauma wasn't enough. Then I kept the name because I reinvented myself. And my clients say yes to reinventing themselves without knowing what that means. I didn't know who I was, but I knew who I wasn't. And then it was a identity up level, reinventing myself journey to be who I am, fully expressed, no matter what. And so when we're talking about family healing, that's what I'm talking about. You, no matter what, in your family and beyond, that's magic.
It's so good. It's just so good. And you know, I think I just really admire and love what you have done with this mission because, you know, Rebeccah, we know a lot of coaches and, you know, I would easily put you in the top 5 people that I've met in terms of the consistency of commitment to your mission and what you're doing. You know, so dear listener, I've met Rebeccah, I don't know, maybe 5, 6 years ago at this point, maybe 7. Gosh, it's been a while. And, you know, we've been on a growth journey even together. You've seen me grow, you've seen me evolve and change. And as you're speaking about, you know, this authenticity and like discovering who you are, like that's the core of what personal growth and development is really about. Because, you know, I think people do kind of run into that disruption of life and realizing like, wow, like I can make different choices. I can create something new, but there is that space of like, now what? Now that I know that I have choices, now that I know I can create something new, what do I even want that to be? And like giving that permission to identify that, to see that, like that is some hardcore coachy work. Like that's pretty amazing. Rebeccah, I am really curious, you know, for the other coaches that are listening, you are somebody who has a lot of passion, a lot of resilience. You've been through a lot. You're clearly like so intelligent. Like you work extremely hard. Like what stokes your fire, babe? Like how do you stay this connected to this and allow the evolution that's required in order to have that bigger impact? Like what would you say there?
Well, I mean, for me, part of the story is I got out of that domestic violence marriage with a 2-year-old and was going to be damned if I wasn't a mom she could be proud of and a mom I could be proud of. And I just went for it. And I think when you're in a season where you've lost everything, it's pretty easy to scrape your way to the top. Not easy in terms of common, but it's almost easier to reinvent ourselves when there's a breakdown or when there's a crisis. I think it's harder when there's seemingly something to lose that, I call it high functioning unhappiness. So many people are suffering from what I call high functioning unhappiness. We talk about high functioning anxiety, depression, addiction, but we don't talk about high functioning unhappiness. So for me, I'm unwilling to be a high functioning unhappy person. And part of the story is I built this dream business from nothing as a woman in a family system where the women do not stand on their own, do not make their own money. I come from a very patriarchal community, not just family. So when I decided I'm going to go for it, I meant it. And I built everything I imagined. I ended up married again. I built an amazing business. My strategy was to get on a top 40 radio station. And I just overnight turned the community on its head. I was the first coach in the whole community. I was waking people up. I helped 150 women alone just start businesses there. And then I got a cancer diagnosis. So part of the answer to what keeps my passion going and flowing is I beat cancer with a 5% chance to live because I live what I teach. So now my life is frosting and I'm just here on divine assignment. And I'm so freaking grateful every single day that I'm well and I'm alive. I on paper shouldn't be here. I'm a statistical anomaly. I'm an incest survivor, growing up in the trauma and abuse and violence that I did. Then cancer with a 5% chance. But my book isn't called Coming Back to Life because of all the crazy. It's because this is what my clients have said to me from 2002 on that they experience when we work together. They come alive. And for me, it's about, can you please not believe that you need a breakdown to break through or wait for things to get worse because it isn't that bad because you're high functioning and unhappy? Can we not be afraid to risk threatening the unhappy because we don't want to lose the high functioning? And can we risk it? And can we have our lives ours? I don't think, especially for coaches, it makes any sense to try to fit in. I think we deserve to have a life that fits in with us so we can serve at the highest levels. So for me, I just am like every single day, thank you, God. And I feel like God is my business partner and I'm just so guided. And when I tell you I only beat cancer because of the practice of emotional healing that I teach, I believe it. I stayed emotionally clear and regulated, and I wasn't violated when I got cancer. I wasn't believing this was happening to me. I wasn't identifying as cancer. It wasn't my cancer. It was just, am I going to be who the hell I say I am now?
Gosh, yeah.
Really
Like,
be to be the best of me when it's good and easy.
you know, you're hitting on so many things, and I love this term, high functioning unhappiness, hashtag
Thank
stealing.
you.
Because I think, gosh, that was what drove me into coaching in the first place. I now coach coaches and help them build bodacious businesses so that they are really excited to serve and to have a greater impact and to, get that ripple out there. And the thing is, though, I think that high functioning unhappiness of just like every day, just like letting a little bit of what you really think go every day, letting just like a little bit of what you really want go until you find yourself just cornered into this caged existence. And what you wanted to do in the first place was so great. It was so boundary pushing. It was so exciting. But to your point, like this fear of loss or this fear of rejection or this fear that it's not going to work out or living in that 95% instead of like the 5, like that's that's profound. Like that's really, really good. I do work with, and a lot of coaches in the space that, they have invested a tremendous amount of money, a tremendous amount of time, and a tremendous amount of like identity, honestly, like going into, I'm gonna be a coach. And they put it out there. They put it like out on this pedestal out in the distance somewhere. And it almost seems like for a lot of people in the community, it's like always out of reach somehow. What do you think is going on? Why do you think
They're
we
not
do that as
committed.
coaches? They're not
Yes.
committed. It's that simple. I love it.
It's easy to want it, right? And I think there's three different types of people in this industry and in general. The people that don't want to grow and transform, not knocking them, loving them, blessing them into their future, but that's real. There are a lot of people that just, I'm good. Then there are the people are interested. Let's just call it what it is. Maybe they're not ready, but in so many cases, they're just not interested. So let's love and respect that. Then there's the people that want it, but they're waiting for the imaginary guarantee that isn't coming. They want to know the how, they want a guarantee of certainty, and then they'll commit. So I wouldn't be alive if I didn't commit to living like I was going to live. Very freaking clear. Chances were I was dead. I was 34 and pregnant, and the doctors are saying, we have to plan your will. They're talking to my husband about she's not going to make it. And we just have to prepare for that, right? Then I quit chemo and they were really like, well, she's done for. But the thing about it is I committed to my life, which meant committing to trusting me more than anything else. We don't
Mm.
want that experience of people's disapproval, and we guard against disappointment, and we want some certainty that isn't coming. But let me tell you what will make you certain. And I coach coaches. I was a mentor running a coaching certification program for
Remember that?
12
Yes.
years. So I've been around and I've worked with coaches, and it's about the unwillingness to not be the person it takes to serve the way you imagine you can. And you're not going to get approval. Nobody told me it was a good idea to go back into my hometown and get on the radio and start a private practice. Everybody I loved told me, we might want to start here. We might want to cut those rates in half. And I just trusted myself, right? And I'm not the coach that says, I know for you, but I know you know for you. And I remember driving, because I was a school counselor, a school counseling coordinator, to the school I was working at, the district, listening to this top 40 station and thinking, this is not my voice telling me to call the station and get on the air. This is something bigger than me. So I think we can't make it about us and our fear of perceived failure or rejection. I want to know I pulled out all the stops in this one precious life. I want a life of no regrets. I want to know I went for it. And I know I have to carry the torch and the vision and the belief. And I need to know, and I can teach real quick if you want, the 4 stages of commitment that I know are coming, so that when they do, I don't get afraid to recommit. I'm just normalizing, oh, this is part of the process. But we don't commit like we mean it. And if we
I think
did,
that's a big
everything would change.
I think that's a big distinction, because I know in my own journey I had to learn the difference between like an idea and a
Right.
dream, and a commitment. Like what happens when you break commitment with yourself, with others, like what that does in your integrity, and how you need to like obviously not do that as much as possible. But if you have found yourself in that pattern, it's like, okay, we gotta shift something. So I am interested, what is your four
Yeah.
step framework on commitment?
Girl, this is game changing. So, this is in relationship to anything. So, these are the stages of growth. These are the stages of commitment. These are the stages of business, of relationship. Okay. And I work with people every single day, and over 1,000 have gone through my private practice. This is the lesson that is the biggest game changer for people that I teach. So, commitment starts in fresh love. So, it's like, oh, yay. This is hot. This is great. This is fun. This is fresh. And that is what we think the metric is to make commitment worth it. Fresh love. But here's the problem with the oh yay, fresh love. There are no roots. There is no
Mhm.
foundation yet. So my husband, it's so funny. He was never going to get married. My mother-in-law was like, what did you do to my son? My husband now, because he proposed in 3 months and we got married fast. But before me, he went from it's fun, it's not fun. That was it,
Mhm.
with women with jobs in life beyond, right? So fresh love moves into panic. What was
Ooh.
I thinking? So it goes, oh yay, no. What did I do? What was I thinking? So for me, when the God, what was I thinking? I'm like, oh yeah, this is the part where. So for many of us, we're surprised every time and we're not even aware that's what's happening, right? But you want to be a coach. It's not enough. You've got to commit to being a coach, knowing you're going to go from fresh love to panic, and you're going to have to remember, wait a minute, I wanted to be the person who could achieve this, right? I wanted a healthy, healed family. I wanted a magically delicious marriage, probably more than I wanted anything in my life. And I knew I'm going to have to stay committed every time I want to run. And I'm the woman who had a dog that by the time she was 5, we had moved 10 times. I was not committed. But the thing about it is, you're never not committed. You're committed to every choice you make, right? So we're always committed.
Mm.
It's just in what direction, right? Nobody has commitment issues, by the way. So you go from oh yay to oh no to then it feels like things are getting even worse because now we hit it. Now we have to move beyond power and control dynamics within ourselves and in our relationships, which means the part of you that wants to stay in survival, because there's the survival you and then there's the healed you. And almost nobody meets the healed you because you haven't met the healed you. So the healed you design. We don't wake up knowing who that is or what that looks like. And
Mm-hmm.
here's just a quick side note hack. If you know what you want for other people, guaranteed that's what you want for you. If you don't know what you want for you, you're not alone. What do you want for other people? And what don't you want? And what do you think the opposite would be, right? But the power and control phase, so people either quit once they get that disillusion, panic, oh no, moment that a lot of people call the ick. It's not the ick. It's just you don't want to commit. You don't want to stay committed. You're looking for an out. You're not looking for a reason to stay in the game. And if you're looking for an out, you're going to find it. So the power and control is where it's, oh no, you didn't. And you're going into fight, flight, freeze and not knowing how to be the healed you beyond it, right? Because there's fight, flight, freeze, but there's also healed you. But most people don't teach you how to actually be healed. Traditional therapy is teaching healing emotions through the mind. The mental health industry is about mindset and strategy. I'm about alignment with your soul and emotional clarity, right? So the power and control phase is where, oh no, you didn't. When you get to the place where you're healed with you and have new agreements with yourself and new clarity about why it's so important to stay committed, then you get the delicious fourth stage that everybody really wants, which is reinvention. But we think the panic and the power and control, things are getting worse. You're building your foundation. So by the time I got cancer, I had all this in me and I just had to practice it. It sucked. Wasn't fun at all. But I moved and graduated beyond. This was my power and control breakthrough. Because that's where the breakthrough happens, by the way, in the power and control phase. And I'm the coach that can facilitate breakthroughs like you've never even fathomed for you really, really quick. But what I realized is okay, my life has been about achievement and success metrics that are not fulfilling my soul or nourishing my soul. It is draining me because I, for years, was working 7 days a week, 10 clients a day with a 6 month wait list for years. And then I'm not saying I caused the cancer, but you can't live like
That's a
that. That's
lot of
not
stress to
possible.
put yourself
Oh my
under.
God. So
Yeah.
cancer happened, and my power and control breakthrough was life's about alignment now. And my life became a co creation with God. And I haven't
Mm.
had to figure anything out since. I just am open and a clear channel and show me. What would you have me see? Know, do, understand, say, and to who? Just show me. So the book came through with me listening to Lil Wayne radio and just, oh, that's good. And I like literally look at the ceiling all the time. I'm just like, oh, okay. Right. So the 4 stages of commitment, normalizing that, it's game changing because you're not doing anything wrong when you want to run. You're human, but stay
Love
in it.
I love this distinction so much, because I think there's a lot of surface level development work out there that talks about like, oh, you encountered resistance. Oh, then you should just like quit. I'm like, wait, hang on. Like sometimes that resistance is the thing that you need to learn, or you need to see, or you need to be. Like you have to, I think like for me, the experience of resistance can be a redirection signal. It can be. But it often is not. It's often, like you said, like we've got to accept that resistance to then experience that flow, and it's like that
Yeah.
surrender to, okay,
Good word.
yeah, it's surrender, right? It's this surrender to it. And I think a lot of people use, oh no, I feel a bad feeling, and then they're done. And it's like,
Right. Or this person upset me, so I'm going to blame it on them. By the way, the other person is never the problem, ever.
mhm,
Right. They're just
exactly.
activating what you have an opportunity to heal. But I don't see surrender as powerless and I'm just giving up. I see it as letting go of attachment to how the world responds to you
But
so that you can be clean on your end and the best of you. And if you want certainty, decide that what's certain is you can be your best and make the best of anything and stay committed no matter what. And then you're free. And to me, healing is freedom. That's what it's about. And I wanted to create a way for people to have an empowering experience of healing beyond anything and everything that doesn't serve them, so that generational trauma cycles and patterns can break for good. And you can model a whole new baseline for every life you touch, including your family. But often our families content where they are, and our job is to just be the best of ourselves, attracting alignment, aligned relationships from this place, from this me. And then whoever wants to come, great. But let go of the attachment, of the approval, of the permission, of the certainty from external sources, and commit so you know you did, and you're free.
well, I ask everyone in this segment, what helps a coach not to suck? What are your three rapid fire responses for like a coach really does want to do a very good job? What do you think are the three things they need to keep in mind?
Manage and regulate your emotions. Two, be honest about what you're good at and stick with that. Don't try to be who you're not. Don't try to be vanilla ice. If you got a problem, you'll solve it. Be you and the genius you are in your capacity. And I think the third thing is be a coach with a coach.
So good. So good. I love, in fact, I'm going to like just punctuate. I love that you called out emotional regulation.
That's what I teach.
Because I think it's not talked about really enough in our space, and it is so important. I know for me, the biggest difference between Amanda the beginner coach and Amanda the coach that is here today, and probably the coach that it's going to be here 20 years from now, is my capacity to emotionally regulate when things happen. I'm so much stronger than I once was with that, but that's not something that I learned from a coaching certification, or even picked up with a particular book, but I just, from working with so many high level entrepreneurs over the years, and just like really high level aligned achievers, that alignment comes from their emotional regulation and their ability to respond to, like you said, the realities of what life is presenting. I love that. So good. Okay, Rebeccah, I could talk to you for 3 hours straight, easily, very easily. But how could people follow you?
Yeah. So, first of all, if you want more on how I teach the practice of emotional healing and emotional regulation, get my book, Coming Back to Life, A Roadmap to Heal from Pain to Create the Life You Want. We're talking about amazing concepts today. If you want the roadmap, I literally give you how to, step by step by step. This isn't some cool idea. This can be your real life, right? Like you aligned and
So
solid and
true.
emotionally clear. So coming back to life, I can't recommend enough. And then if you just want to get in touch, if you want to follow me, if you want to experience more of my work, check out RebeccahSilence.com. Check out the Rebeccah Silence YouTube channel. On my website, there's a whole free resources section, but you can also download right now the 3 Must Know Secrets to Heal and Save Your Family Masterclass right at RebeccahSilence.com. And that masterclass is really just the 3 Must Know Secrets to Heal so you can lead healed. The world needs you healed so you can really make your difference.
Amazing, amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Rebeccah.
My pleasure. I love you. I'll come back anytime.
Oh, you'll be back. You will be back. She said it in front of you, friends. So she's coming back. And hey, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss that next time that Rebeccah's back and other episodes. And go ahead and take a moment and subscribe and leave a 5-star review. Rebeccah worked so hard and showed up in her full authentic self here. So let's make this podcast even easier for people to find in the future. And I'm pretty sure there's something that really resonated with you that would be so much better if you just shared it with 3 of your friends, so grab the link to this episode, go ahead and slide into the DMs, let them know what you loved from the episode, and then they can listen to it if it speaks to them. And yeah, come back, man. I'm loving having you listening to the show. Thank you so much, Rebeccah, for being here, and we'll see you next time, everyone.
Bye.